In this video, we're going to take a look at sharing dependencies between different sub-projects. So as a quick reminder, both our products and our cart projects make use of the Faker module. Let's take a look back inside of our browser and just see how Faker currently is being loaded up. So back inside my browser at localhost 8080, I'm going to open up my network request tab, go to JavaScript or filter by JavaScript requests, and then do a refresh. Once I do so, you'll notice that there are two files being loaded up called something like vendors node modules faker. So at present, because both products and cart are making use of this dependency, they are both loading their own copy of it. This is definitely not very good, especially because the faker module itself is very, very large. You'll notice it's about 2.9 megabytes large. That's extremely large, and we really want to make sure that we do not load up two copies of it if we can somehow avoid that. So if we could somehow figure out some way to get both Faker and cart, or excuse me, both cart and products to use the same copy of Faker, that would really be fantastic. And it turns out we can do this very easily by using the Module Federation plugin. Let's first begin by taking a look at a diagram that's just going to explain the series of actions that are going to occur once we make a little configuration change. So when we start up our application, the container is going to try to find the remote entry file for products and the remote entry file for cart. These remote entry files are going to mention that they both require the Faker module. So at that point in time, the container application understands that we need to get a copy of Faker, and both of these different sub-apps of cart and products need that copy. So the container can decide to only load up a single copy of Faker, and then share that single copy with both cart and products. So you'll notice that we're getting some really crazy kind of coordination between these different sub-applications through the Module Federation plugin. It is the Module Federation plugin that is injecting or adding in additional code to our project to help instruct the container on how to make this series of decisions. You and I do not have to write out any code that makes this happen. We just have to change a couple of configuration options to make this process occur. So let's do that right away. Back inside my editor, I'm going to find my products webpack-config.js file. I'll find my Module Federation plugin, and then I'm going to add in a new option to this thing of shared, and I'll put inside of an array a string of Faker. I'll then save this file, and then go over to my cart webpack-config.js file. So here's the cart, and over here we'll put in shared Faker as well. So all we're doing here is saying that if we ever try to require in or import the Faker module, let's try to share it. Let's see if some other application inside of our container has already loaded up the Faker. If we have, then we're going to get a preloaded copy, and we're not going to try to fetch our own independent copy. You'll notice that we did not have to make any actual changes to container. The container is going to automatically see that we're trying to share the Faker module once it loads up the remote entry file for cart and products. Before we test this out, we do have to restart Webpack. So let's do that very quickly. We only have to restart the products and the cart applications. So I'll make sure that I restart my products Webpack process and my cart Webpack process as well. Then after that, I'll go back to localhost 8080, refresh the page, and you'll see that now we are only loading up one single copy of Faker. Awesome. This definitely works, but unfortunately we just broke something else. So you can open up a second browser tab and go to localhost 8081. Remember, that's going to try to load up our product application in isolation. And when we do that now, if you open up your console, you'll notice that nothing appears on the screen, and we get this nasty error message that you're probably going to see very frequently. So I want you to remember this error message. It says, shared module not available for eager consumption. So what's going on here? Well, remember, when we load up products in isolation, the first file that really gets executed is our source index.js file. And inside of here, we have some code that says, get access to Faker right away. Like we instantaneously want Faker available inside this file because we're going to call some functions on it right away. Unfortunately, when we mark Faker as a shared module, that causes it to be loaded up by default asynchronously. So when we load up our index.js file, we do not yet have Faker available. And this is not an issue when we load up products through our container, because when we load up products through container, we are first loading up the remote entry file for products, And the remote entry file has some code and configuration inside of it that says, hey, we need to get access to index.js, and to run that file, we need Faker. So when we load up our application through remote entry, we don't run into any issues because Webpack can very easily have the time and say, hey, we need to get both index.js and the Faker module. But when we load up products by itself, we're getting index right away, we're trying to use Faker right away, and we end up with the error message that says, sorry, but we don't have this module yet because we are trying to use it instantaneously, but we haven't loaded it. So that's why we are seeing everything work over here through our container, but not when we try to run products through isolation. So obviously we need to fix this because we still want to run products in isolation, even though we're trying to use a shared module. So let's take a look at how we fix this error message in the next video.